My family thinks I saved her. She thinks I destroyed her life. The truth? Both might be right. I'll never forget the look in her eyes when she screamed at me for ruining everything. And sometimes, I wonder if she's right.
Welcome to Reddit Toxic Family Telltales channel. New episode every day.
My daughter's 56-year-old teacher used my credit card to book a motel room for them. When I knocked on that door and confronted him, this creep actually looked me in the eye and said, "She wants me." Yeah, buddy. You know who else wants you? The police. Up until 16, my daughter was every father's dream. No drama, no dating, not even the faintest crush on those cookie-cutter boy bands like One Direction or Big Time Rush. Honestly, I figured if she ended up moving in with her best girlfriend and a house full of cats, I'd be fine with that. Anything was better than her ending up with some jerk. But then it happened. That day every parent dreads. She came home, different. Not the sulky kind of different, not teen depression different. Her cheeks were flushed. Her eyes sparkled like she was glowing from the inside out. My gut twisted instantly. I knew. A boy. I wanted to ask. But I also knew if I said the B word, she'd roll her eyes and lock me out of her world. So I pretended not to notice. Big mistake. Each day she made it more obvious. 10 times the effort in her outfits, new makeup, smiling at her phone like it held the secrets of the universe. And don't get me wrong, I was happy for her. Nervous, yes, but happy. Then came the moment that nearly broke me. "Dad," she asked, biting her lip, "how do you know if a boy likes you?" Inside, my heart sank, but I swallowed it down. "Honey, most guys are idiots. They couldn't hide their feelings if they tried. If you're unsure, take that as your answer." "I'm not unsure," she replied quickly. "I was just asking." I sighed. That was my signal to shut up and ride it out until the hormones passed. Within minutes, she was grinning again, the storm gone. It was like watching the sunrise after a long night. The relief of being a dad, right? But over the next few days, the signs stacked up. She was coming home later, 6 instead of 4, with no real explanation. Then, one night, she walked in wearing a skirt that barely scraped past dress code standards, and a purple bruise blooming on her neck. "Honey, who's the boy?" I asked gently. "I don't want to talk about it." She pouted, but then, seeing the worry on my face, she added, "Dad, he treats me well. He buys me things, makes me feel special. He's not married. He's not in a relationship. And I think he loves me." Married? My stomach dropped. 16-year-old boys don't have money. And my daughter? She doesn't usually slip up like that. Something was off. I felt sick. My hands trembled as I grabbed the family iPad. Years ago, I'd synced it to her camera roll without telling her. Usually it was harmless. Selfies, Snapchat drama, flower crowns. But this time, I froze. There she was, sitting on her boyfriend's lap. And his face, I knew it instantly. Mr. Dalton, her English teacher. The extra smiles during conferences. The constant praise. The retirement party the parents were already planning for him. Everything clicked, and bile rose in my throat. I wanted to smash his skull against the sidewalk. But I couldn't risk losing control, not with Ava's trust at stake. So I knocked on her bedroom door instead. She let me in. I sat on the edge of her bed, heart pounding, and forced out the hardest words I've ever said. "Darling, I support you no matter what. I hope you and your boyfriend are happy. Let him know I wish him the best." Her face lit up instantly. "Thanks, Dad. You're the best." She hugged me tight, promised she'd tell him, and I smiled back, barely. When I shut her door, I nearly collapsed. My skin crawled, my chest heaved. Pretending had nearly broken me. The next day, just like I expected, Dalton texted me. "Good afternoon, sir. Ava's been doing brilliantly. You've raised a wonderful daughter." We exchanged messages. I invited him to dinner at Morello's, a fancy Italian place downtown. He agreed, not realizing he'd just agreed to his last supper. But the closer Friday got, the more I realized I couldn't do this alone. If I lost my temper, I'd end up in prison, and then Ava would be unprotected. So I turned to someone I knew could help. Melissa Winters, the school counselor. She had a reputation. No nonsense, fiercely protective of kids, sharp as a razor. Her office was tucked away in the East Wing, far from the English department. I showed up 15 minutes early, pacing, rehearsing my words while students trickled out of the building. When the coast was clear, I slipped inside. Her office was smaller than I'd imagined. Walls lined with framed degrees, bright posters about resilience, and plants thriving in the sunlight. "Mark, come in," she said, closing the door. Her voice was calm but cutting, her eyes sharp behind tortoiseshell glasses. I sat down, the weight of everything pressing on my chest. "This stays between us for now," I told her, my voice low and unsteady. "Of course," she nodded, face grave. I pulled out my phone, set it on her desk, and whispered, "I need you to hear something. All of it." And that's when the trap started to close. I played the recording, the one of my conversation with Ava about her so-called boyfriend, followed by my text messages with Dalton. I'd stayed up all night stitching everything together, building a timeline, organizing every shred of proof I had. For 45 minutes, Melissa sat in absolute silence, her face slowly draining of color. When it ended, she finally looked up at me, eyes wide, voice barely above a whisper. How long has this been going on? A few months. Maybe longer. My hands dug through my hair as I exhaled hard. I can't just storm into the police station. Ava would hate me for it, and Dalton, he's too clever. He'd spin it, twist everything until she believed him over me. Melissa leaned forward, her tone steady but grim. You're right to be cautious. Men like Dalton. They're predators who always prepare their exits. If we're gonna stop him, we need a solid case. And protecting Ava has to come first. Her words dug into me. Protect Ava above all else. That was my mission. But how? What do we do? I asked, desperate. First, we document everything. Times, dates, messages. And Mark. She held my gaze. You need to act normal. If Dalton's senses were onto him, he'll erase evidence. Or worse, he could convince Ava to run away with him. The thought hit me like a sledgehammer. Ava disappearing in the night, leaving only a note behind. I gritted my teeth. I'll do whatever it takes. Melissa scribbled in her notebook. I'll make some discreet inquiries, see if there are others. Predators rarely stop at one victim. Her words chilled me to the bone, but a small part of me felt relief. Maybe Ava hadn't been singled out, but that relief quickly turned to rage. How many lives had this man wrecked already? Give me a week, Melissa said. Don't confront him. Keep that dinner plan. Record everything. She tore out a page and slid it to me. A list of discreet recording apps. Easier said than done. Acting normal was torture. Every time Ava giggled at her phone, every time her door locked, every time she carried her phone into the bathroom, I felt like my chest was being crushed. 3 days later, I checked the synced photos again. My blood turned to ice. Ava was in a hotel room, not a classroom, not a living room, a hotel. Generic art on the wall. Identical lamps by the bed. The sterile decor screamed it. She was smiling, wearing a dress I'd never seen before. Too elegant, too mature. I downloaded everything, fingers trembling, bile rising in my throat. That morning, Melissa texted. Need to talk. Found something. I was pouring coffee. The message made me jerk so hard the mug slipped, scalding liquid splattering across the counter. We met at a small coffee shop a few miles from the school. Melissa was already there, a manila folder beside her untouched latte. She slid it toward me. I've been reviewing attendance records. Inside, Ava's absences were highlighted. She's missed her last class every Friday, for 2 months. My chest tightened. Dalton's planning period. Melissa's jaw clenched. Exactly. And there's more. 3 years ago, there was another incident. Different student. Nothing proven. She transferred. She pulled out another page. An email chain between administrators. A situation handled quietly. I felt my voice rise. Why wasn't he fired? The family moved. No complaint filed. But, she lowered her voice. I tracked down the girl's best friend. She remembers. She's scared. But she might talk. For the first time, hope flickered. So we could. Not yet. We still need something concrete. Melissa interrupted. That night, my hands shook as I slipped a small voice recorder into Ava's backpack while she showered. My stomach churned with guilt. But those hotel photos burned behind my eyes. The next day, Friday, the night I was supposed to meet Dalton, I stayed home waiting. At 6:30, Ava came through the door, hair tousled, cheeks flushed. Dad, I thought you had that dinner tonight? She asked, dropping her bag. Cancelled. I lied, faking a cough. Didn't feel up to it. Was that relief in her voice? She mumbled something about showering and studying. The second she was gone, I grabbed her bag and locked myself in my office. Hands trembling, I downloaded the recordings. First, just classroom chatter. Nothing important. Then Dalton's voice cut through, smooth and manipulative. You know I'd never hurt you, right? People wouldn't understand what we have. They'd try to keep us apart. My skin crawled. My dad likes you, Ava said, her voice dreamy, almost hypnotized. Dalton chuckled. Your father sees what I want him to see. Men like us. We understand each other. What do you mean? Ava asked. Nothing, sweetheart. Just that your father and I are both men of the world. Now, about your college application. Berkeley would be perfect. Close enough for us to see each other often. For an hour, I listened to him weave poetry with poison, quoting Neruda and Byron, twisting beauty into shackles. Then the rustling of paper. Ava's gasp. It's beautiful. But it looks expensive. His reply made me sick. Nothing's too expensive for you. Just don't wear it around your father yet. Our little secret. I slammed stop. My whole body shook. Jewelry. He was branding her. I copied everything to a secure drive and texted Melissa. Got audio. Clear grooming evidence. I canceled dinner with Dalton. Said it was a work emergency. Because if I sat across from him right then, I'd end up in prison. That weekend, Ava was moody, distant. Sunday night, I heard her crying through the door. She told me to leave her alone. Monday morning, my phone buzzed. Melissa again. Principal's office. For PM, bring everything. The jolt of adrenaline nearly knocked me over. This was it. The moment we started tearing Dalton's world apart. I spent the entire morning pulling everything together. Every file, Every photo, every audio clip. I built a timeline so detailed it looked like something out of a police case file. By 3:30, I was driving to the school, my heart pounding with each turn of the wheel. The parking lot was nearly empty, most kids already gone for the day. That's when I spotted her. Ava, standing by the front doors, arguing with a girl I recognized. Skylar Williams, her lab partner. You don't know what you're talking about, Ava snapped, her cheeks flushed with anger. I know exactly what I'm talking about, Skylar shot back. He did the same thing to my cousin before she transferred. Ask her about the bracelet he gave her. Skylar reached toward Ava's wrist, and that's when I saw it. A silver bracelet glinting under the sun. My stomach dropped. I ducked behind a parked car, frozen, watching as Ava stormed off toward the English wing. Head down, shoulders tight. She was heading straight for Dalton. If she confronted him now, everything could collapse. I texted Melissa with shaking hands. Emergency. Ava heading to Dalton's room. Might confront him. Her reply was instant. On my way. Stall her if you can. I ran inside, trying to look casual, but my chest was on fire. When I rounded the corner to the English hall, I saw Ava slip into Dalton's classroom. Through the small window in the door I caught them arguing. His jaw was tight, his polished mask slipping. Then he grabbed her arm. That was it. The last straw. I slammed the door open. Take your hands off my daughter. They froze. Dalton released her immediately, forcing a smile. Mark, what a surprise. Ava and I were just going over her essay. Dad. Ava's face burned with humiliation. What are you doing here? I came to see Principal Harrison. My eyes never left Dalton. Ava, we're leaving. She shook her head, stepping away. No, you don't get it. Skylar's spreading lies about Mr. Dalton. Dalton kept that fake smile plastered on, though his eyes were sharp as blades. Teenage gossip, he said smoothly. It happens to many teachers. Ava, please. I reached for her hand. We need to talk. There's nothing to talk about, she shouted. You said you supported us. Dalton slid in like poison, calm and confident. Perhaps this isn't the best time. Ava, why don't you head home? Your father and I can settle this like adults. Before I could respond, Melissa appeared in the doorway with Principal Harrison right behind her. Harrison was tall, rigid, every step carrying authority. His voice cut like steel. Mr. Dalton, my office. Now. Dalton blinked, the mask cracking. What's this about? A serious matter, Harrison said firmly. Miss Winters, please escort Ava to your office. I'm not going anywhere. Ava screamed, tears streaming down her face. Dad, what did you do? What I had to do, I said, voice breaking. To protect you. I don't need protection from him. She turned to Dalton, sobbing. Tell them it's real. Dalton's eyes flickered, calculating, cornered. He tried to soothe her. Ava, calm down. This is all a misunderstanding. But then 2 security guards stepped into the hall, and his practiced calm faltered. This is ridiculous, he barked. You're taking the word of a jealous teenager? We have evidence, Harrison replied coolly. Plenty of it. He nodded to the guards, who moved closer. The next hour was agony. In Melissa's office, Ava alternated between rage and despair, screaming at me, swearing she'd never forgive me. He loves me. You ruined everything. Melissa tried to steady her. Ava, I know this hurts, but there are things you don't know. What don't I know? Ava demanded, red-faced. That my dad stabbed me in the back? Melissa's voice softened. That Mr. Dalton has done this before. Ava froze. What? 3 years ago with another student. She had to transfer schools. You're lying? Ava whispered, but her voice trembled. Skylar's cousin, I said gently. That's who she meant. That's why she mentioned the bracelet. Ava looked down, silent. Then, with shaking fingers, she tugged up her sleeve. The silver bracelet glimmered, a small sapphire catching the light. He said it matched my eyes. Melissa reached forward, her tone clinical but kind. May I see it? Ava slowly slipped it off. The moment she placed it in Melissa's hand, Principal Harrison stepped in. His face was stone. Dalton has been escorted off campus. Administrative leave. The board and legal team are already involved. What about the police? I asked, my voice sharp. Harrison's shoulders sagged. Without Ava's cooperation, it's complicated. His eyes flicked toward her. I'm not talking to the police, Ava snapped. This is insane. You're treating me like a child. You are a child, I said firmly. You're 16. I'm old enough to know what I want. She shot back, voice breaking. Harrison suggested we all cool down and regroup tomorrow. Ava stormed ahead of me as we left the building, her silence louder than any words. That night, she locked herself in her room. I sat against her door, listening to her sob until sleep finally claimed her. But morning brought a nightmare. Her room was empty, the window wide open, curtains fluttering in the breeze. A note sat on the pillow, scrawled in messy handwriting. You can't stop us. My blood ran cold. Her phone went straight to voicemail. I fired off a text to Melissa. Ava's gone. She's with Dalton. Her reply came instantly. Calling Harrison. Check your bank accounts for hotel charges. My fingers shook as I logged in. And there it was. A fresh charge. Bayview Inn. 20 minutes earlier. I grabbed my keys, heart pounding like a war drum. Dalton had saved my credit card from the last time Ava used it. That smug parasite. By the time I pulled into the Bayview's cracked asphalt lot, I spotted it. Dalton's silver Audi. Room 118, the charge said. I bolted for the door, fists hammering on the wood. Ava, open up, shuffling inside. Then Dalton's voice, calm, smug. She doesn't want to see you. Let me talk to her, I yelled. Dad, go away. Ava's voice cracked through the door. We're leaving. You can't stop us. Ava, please, I begged. 5 minutes. That's all I ask. Then, if you still want to go, I won't stop you. It was a lie, but I needed that door to open. Silence. Then the latch clicked. The door cracked open. Dalton stood there, pretending to look composed, but I saw the sweat, the twitch in his jaw. 5 minutes, he said flatly. Then we're leaving. I shoved past him into the room. Ava sat on the edge of the bed, a small suitcase beside her, eyes swollen and red. The air reeked of cheap cleaner and artificial citrus. And in that moment, my world tilted. Honey, please, don't do this. I whispered, my voice shaking. You don't understand. Ava shot back, eyes glossy with tears. We love each other. I forced myself to breathe slowly, steady. If he really loves you, why is he making you run away? Why not wait until you're 18? Because people like you won't let us be together, she cried. I swallowed hard. Ava, there's something you don't know. Something I found out just yesterday. Dalton's mask slipped for a second, his jaw tightening. We don't have time for this. I ignored him, keeping my eyes on my daughter. Skylar's cousin wasn't the first. Melissa dug into his past. There were 2 more girls at his previous school. Same story. Same bracelet. Ava froze. What? He's lying, Dalton said quickly, stepping forward. They're all lying. The bracelet has his initials engraved on the clasp, I said, my voice firm. Check it. Ava's hand flew to her wrist, but the bracelet wasn't there. Her gaze snapped to Dalton. Where's my bracelet? In your bag, he said dismissively. We need to go. I want to see it. She stood, her chair scraping against the floor. We'll look later, Dalton snapped. The bus leaves in 30 minutes. Ava's eyes narrowed, confusion flickering across her face. Bus? You told me we were driving to your cousin's cabin. For the first time, Dalton faltered. We discussed both options. No, we didn't. Her voice was sharp now, cutting. You said your cousin had a cabin in Oregon. That we'd stay there until things calmed down. Plans change, he barked, his polished facade cracking. Now grab your bag. I stepped between them, every muscle coiled tight. She's not going anywhere with you. Dalton's eyes turned black, his tone venomous. This doesn't concern you anymore. Ava, tell your father you're coming with me. But Ava didn't move. She just stared at him, her expression shifting. You lied. About the cabin. It's a minor detail, he said quickly, desperation seeping into his voice. What else did you lie about? She whispered. She turned to me then, her eyes wide and trembling. Dad, what did you mean about other cases? Before I could answer, the sound of sirens tore through the air outside. Dalton's entire demeanor collapsed into panic. We need to go. Now. His grip snapped around Ava's arm. She winced, struggling. You're hurting me. Let her go, I growled, stepping closer. He sneered. What? You'll stop me? She's coming with me, and you're going to watch us walk out that door. I locked eyes with him, every ounce of fury boiling inside me. The police are already here, Dalton. It's over. A sharp knock rattled the door. Police, open up. Everything blurred into slow motion. Dalton shoved Ava aside, lunging for his jacket. My stomach dropped when I saw the flash of steel. A gun. Nobody move, he roared, leveling it at me. Ava, grab your bag. We're going out the back. Ava stood frozen, pale as a ghost. Dalton softened his tone, coaxing. Sweetheart, it's just for protection. Come on. We need to go. Another thunderous knock. Open the door now. Dalton yanked Ava's arm, snarling, move. Something inside me snapped. I lunged, slamming into him just as the door exploded open. The gun clattered across the floor as officers stormed in, shouting commands. Ava screamed. Hands pulled me back as Dalton was pinned face down, his wrists twisted into cuffs. One officer secured the weapon. Another barked Miranda rights over his muffled curses. Ava was against the wall, trembling like a leaf in a storm. I rushed to her, wrapping her in my arms. She collapsed against me, sobbing. I'm sorry, she cried. I'm so sorry. I thought he loved me. It's okay, I whispered, holding her tighter. It's over now. You're safe. As they dragged Dalton past us, he looked up one last time. The fake charm was gone. What stared back at me was cold, predatory, pure evil. The station afterward was a blur. Statements, reports, charges piling up, unregistered firearm, attempted kidnapping, exploitation of a minor. On the drive home, Ava was silent, staring out the window. Finally, in a cracked whisper, she asked, "How did you know about the hotel?" "He used my credit card," I said quietly. "He must have pulled the number from your phone." Her face twisted with guilt. "I gave him your card once, to order pizza. I was so stupid." "No," I said firmly. "You weren't stupid. He was a manipulator. That's what predators do. They make you trust them. That's not your fault." That night, Ava came into my room, her voice small, like when she was a little girl afraid of thunderstorms. "Dad, can I stay here?" I made her a pallet on the floor. As the lights dimmed, her voice drifted through the dark. "Dad, I don't hate you. I'm sorry I said that." I reached down, squeezing her hand. "I know, sweetheart." Her voice trembled. "How do I ever trust myself again? I thought it was real." "It'll take time," I told her softly. "But you'll learn. And until then, I'm right here." In the days that followed, Dalton's entire web unraveled. 2 former students stepped forward, their stories chillingly familiar. Same charm, same manipulation, same bracelet, his signature. Ava agreed to see a counselor who specialized in trauma, though she refused to testify. She didn't have to. The evidence, the recordings, the photos, the hotel, the gun was more than enough. Dalton wasn't walking free again. Not this time. Would you like me to craft a final epilogue-style section in the same dramatic narration, showing how Ava begins healing and how the narrator reflects on what happened, to close out the story for your YouTube audience? 2 weeks after the hotel incident, the district attorney called. His tone was clipped, businesslike, but beneath it I heard determination. They had enough evidence to proceed without Ava's testimony, he explained, but her words would strengthen the case. "The preliminary hearing is next month," he told me. "Dalton's lawyer is already dangling a plea deal." "What kind of deal?" I asked, my stomach nodding. 10 years. Possibility of parole after 7. We're pushing for more. That night over dinner, pasta I'd made from scratch, trying to keep things normal, I eased into the subject. "The DA called today," I said lightly. Ava froze, her fork halfway to her mouth. "I don't want to testify." "Nobody's forcing you," I assured her quickly. "They've got enough without you." She relaxed slightly, shoulders dropping. "Good." But I hesitated, then added gently, "If you did want to make a statement, it could help make sure he gets longer." Her eyes narrowed. "How long without me?" "Maybe 10 years. Out in 7 with good behavior." Her spoon clattered into the bowl. 7 years? That's it? I'll be 23 when he gets out. The next day, Melissa texted me. "Skylar's cousin Jade wants to talk to Ava. Might help. Your call." I showed Ava the message, expecting hesitation. Instead, she surprised me. "Yes." We met Jade at a small coffee shop downtown. She was 19 now, a sophomore in college, blue hair streaking under the cafe lights. Ava sat with her in a corner booth while I lingered near the counter, close enough to intervene, far enough to give them space. On the drive home, Ava was quiet, staring out the window. Finally, she whispered. Jade said the same things, about being special, about him understanding her like no one else. I gripped the wheel tighter, waiting. He told her they'd go to Paris after she graduated. Had it all planned out. She turned her face away. He told me Greece. My chest tightened. "I'm sorry, sweetheart." She shook her head. "No, I'm glad I know." Her voice steadied. "I want to write that statement." That night, she sat at the kitchen table with a legal pad, scribbling and crossing out lines. Midnight came and she slid the pad toward me. "Can you read it? Tell me if it's okay." Her words were raw, honest. She described how Dalton had singled her out, made her feel like the center of the universe while eroding her confidence piece by piece. When I finished, my voice caught. "This is more than okay. This is brave." She nodded, reclaiming the pad. "I want to read it myself. I want him to hear it from me." The day before the hearing, I found her outside under the old oak tree she used to climb as a child. She was pulling at the grass, eyes distant. "Second thoughts?" I asked, lowering myself beside her. "A million of them," she admitted. Then she glanced at me. "But I keep thinking about you. How you knew something was wrong and didn't just look away. Even when it would have been easier." I winced, remembering the invasion of her privacy. "I don't know if I handled it right." "You protected me," she said simply. "Now I need to protect myself. And maybe others, too." The courthouse loomed, marble and echoing halls that swallowed sound. Ava wore a simple blue dress, her hands trembling as she held her statement. When her name was called, she walked to the podium, head held high. Her voice quivered at first but grew stronger with every word. She didn't look at Dalton until the end. Then she turned, eyes sharp, voice clear. "You made me believe I was special. But now I know the truth. You're not special. You're just another predator who couldn't handle women your own age." Dalton's face didn't change, but his jaw twitched. When Ava returned to her seat, I squeezed her hand, too choked up to speak. The judge denied the plea deal. Dalton would face trial, with new charges based on the files found on his devices. The DA was confident, 20 years minimum. Life slowly settled into a new rhythm. Ava transferred schools for her junior year, joined the debate team, and, much to our surprise, discovered a gift for persuasive speaking. One October evening, I came home to find her at the kitchen table surrounded by college brochures. Thinking ahead? I asked, setting down groceries. Berkeley's got a strong psychology program, she said casually. I froze, remembering Dalton's words from the recording. His fantasy of Berkeley being close enough for their secret future. She caught my look and shook her head. Not because of him, because I want to help people who've been through what I've been through. Relief washed over me. You'd be incredible at that. I've also been thinking about starting a support group at school, she added, chewing her lip nervously. For people stuck in complicated relationships. That's a great idea, I said, unpacking bags. She nodded, then hesitated. Dad, can I ask you something weird? Of course. How did you know? Really know? You said you were paying attention. But it was more than that, wasn't it? I took a breath. Your photos were synced to the family iPad. Her eyes widened. You saw everything? Not everything, I said quickly. Just enough to know something was wrong. For a long time she was quiet. I braced for anger. But finally, she whispered, "Thank you for not telling me before. I wouldn't have understood." And now, I asked carefully. She closed her laptop, her expression calm. Now I know what was at stake. I'm not mad. I'm grateful. The trial finally began in March. 3 long weeks of testimony, motions, and waiting for something, anything, to happen. Then the DA called with the update we'd been hoping for. Dalton changed his plea, she told us. Guilty on all counts. 25 years. No parole for at least 20. When I told Ava, she didn't cry, didn't scream. She just went very still and nodded once. Good. That night, I found her outside again, sitting in the backyard under the stars. She looked so small there, knees pulled to her chest, the cool night air brushing her hair across her face. I sat beside her quietly, not wanting to break whatever thoughts she was holding. After a long pause, she spoke. I keep thinking about who I might have become. If this had gone on longer, if you hadn't figured it out. You would have figured it out eventually, I said gently. You're too smart not to. Maybe, she murmured, hugging her legs tighter. But how much damage would have been done by then? I had no answer. The silence that followed was heavy, but not suffocating. Finally, she straightened a little. I'm going to be okay, she said, almost to herself. Not today, not tomorrow, but eventually. I know I will. She leaned her head against my shoulder. Something she hadn't done in so long it almost broke me. I'm thinking about starting a blog, she continued. Anonymous, of course. About recognizing the warning signs. I turned to her. I think that's a great idea. I'd need your help with some of it, she said. The things you noticed. That I didn't. Whatever you need, I promised. I'm here for all of it. We sat there under the stars in comfortable silence. The road ahead was still going to be long and jagged, full of days that would test her, test both of us. But Ava was finding her way back. Not to the girl she was before, but to someone stronger, wiser, and still unmistakably herself. A month later, she handed me a few sheets of paper. Her first draft. The title stopped me cold. Asterisk, I was 16 when I thought I fell in love with a predator. This is how my father saved me, and how I learned to save myself. Asterisk. I read every word slowly, tears burning in my eyes. The courage in her writing was staggering, her clarity sharper than anything I could have imagined. When I looked up, she was biting her lip, waiting. Is it okay? Should I change anything? I shook my head. It's perfect. Just like you. She rolled her eyes at that, but this time she smiled. A real smile, one that reached all the way to her eyes. Nobody's perfect, Dad. True, I admitted, smiling back. But you're pretty close. Sometimes love isn't enough to keep our children safe. But love, paired with vigilance, courage, and the will to act, even when it feels impossible, just might be. And for us, that was enough.
Thanks for watching. Today's train wreck is over, but tomorrow's ride is already on track. Subscribe so you don't miss it.